Good morning, students. I'm glad to meet you today. You are listening to Dr. Pothana. Today, what we're going to do is we are learning research methodologies. What we're going to do is we are studying the qualitative research, quantitative, and the mixed methods. These three, how best we can use to get the best results in our research. In fact, the qualitative research is mainly focused on ethnography, case studies, grounded theory, autobiography, participatory, action research, phenomenology. What do you mean by phenomenology? Each grounded in a specific discipline and philosophical assumptions. Mostly in doctoral level, qualitative research is encouraged. In qualitative research, you get the primary resources, and some do the ethnographic studies. What do you mean by ethnography? Ethnography studies are related to the field. It's a kind of an anthropology study where you go to the field, you observe the people, and you be with the people, their lifestyle, the culture, the context, and you observe everything and you develop a theory out of your observations from the field. And a matter of fact, the grounded theory is comes out of ethnographic studies mostly, because you go to the ground, you study the people, and you develop a theory from the grassroots level, which is very significant in research. The other aspect of research is quantitative research. Quantitative research depends on survey methods and experiments. You just give a questionnaire and you survey the field with a maximum sampling, and then you get the data. And recently in social sciences, people started using mixed method. It is not so much prevalent in the theological studies, but to get the best results from the field, we can use mixed method. What do you do in mixed method? You use the qualitative research and the quantitative research, and you club these two together, and you get the best results. As a matter of fact, you go to the field, you give a questionnaire, which is a qualitative research, and you collect the data from through your questionnaire, and also you interview some people, and also you go to the field and you do the participatory observation and you do the case studies, and so at times you collect the information from the grassroots level. This qualitative and quantitative, these two research methods you combine, you mix, and you get the best results. The mixed methods draw from qualitative and quantitative methods. I do encourage people to do this because I experimented it in my research. Let us see what is quantitative research. Quantitative approach is one which the investigator primarily uses post-positivist claims from developing knowledge, is cause and effect thinking, reduction and specific variables and hypotheses and questions, use of measurement and observation, and the test of theories. In qualitative research, this is an approach which investigator primarily uses post-positivist claims for developing knowledge. The qualitative research, you get the primary resources and you develop the knowledge. Most qualitative research researchers, they develop theories because they get the primary resources. The qualitative means researchers study things in their natural setting. Instead of force from some outside, naturally you study. You go to the primary sources and naturally you conduct interviews, naturally you do the participatory observations and you do the study. This attempting to make sense of or interpret phenomena in terms of the meanings people bring to them. So this is what happens in qualitative research. A qualitative approach is one in which the inquirer often makes knowledge claims based primarily on constructivist perspectives. The multiple meaning of individual experiences, meanings socially and historically constructed with an intent of developing a theory or pattern or advocacy or participatory perspectives is political, issue-oriented, collaborative, or change-oriented, or both. In qualitative research, what you do is you aim to develop a theory from the field experiences, because you try to develop the meanings, sociologically and historically constructed meanings, with an intent of developing a theory or a pattern. So in doctoral level, you are expected to develop a theory. In a post-graduation level, usually students test a theory. They take a theory and they test the theory in the light of overall literature review. But in doctoral level, students are expected to develop or find a theory, developing a theory, because you are expected to contribute knowledge to the existing knowledge. You are expected to give a new knowledge, contribute a new knowledge to the existing knowledge. So, in qualitative study, inquirers state research questions, not objectives. Specific goals for the research are hypotheses, predictions that involve variables and statistical tests. Example, how do students use program developing tools? So in qualitative study, inquirers state research questions. In qualitative research, you try to develop research questions. And a matter of fact, research is something that you answer to a research question. In quantitative research, people give objectives and try to fulfill those objectives. But in qualitative research, you develop research questions and try to answer, which is very relevant and which is very relevant to the field. In a matter of fact, if you develop good research questions, your research is very easy, because you go to the field and you try to get the answers to the research questions. But to develop research question is not an easy task. It takes time. It needs your logic. It needs your intellectual thinking, and it takes time and again. You write and you rewrite and write and rewrite, and finally you develop logical, intellectual, researchable questions. So, the characteristics of qualitative research. Let's see what are the characteristics. So, the qualitative research takes place in the natural setting. In a natural setting. Now I am sitting in a natural setting. Spontaneously I started recording this. In the same way, qualitative research happens in a natural setting. You just get into the field naturally, you observe the field, and you participate some meeting or maybe some conference, or maybe you participate in the society. You do the participatory observation, and also you, in a natural setting, you sit with the individual and you try to get the information from the individual through your natural interviews, and also you get the it takes place in the natural setting. You will not force people to give information. But whereas in quantitative research, you force people to give the information through your questionnaires. And you time again call them, you force them to answer. But in qualitative research, it uses multiple methods that are interpretive. So interpretation is essential. In qualitative research, you develop the skill of interpretation. And also in this qualitative research is emergent rather than tightly prefigured. And it is an emergent rather than tightly prefigured. Fundamentally interpretive. Role of researcher as interpreter. In qualitative research, what happens? Researcher plays a role of interpreter because you develop the skill of interpretation. You are interpreting your observations. You interpret your interviews. You interpret those primary resources. Researcher views social phenomena holistically. What happens in qualitative research? You eliminate the biased feelings, and in qualitative research encourages holistic interpretation. That's the reason people who do qualitative research, their research is holistic mostly. I'm not guaranteeing, but mostly they give the holistic interpretation and holistic phenomena because they give the information which is very holistic. A researcher systematically reflects on who he or she is in the inquiry and is sensitive to how her personal biography or how it shapes the study. And also in qualitative research, researcher uses complex reasoning that is multifaceted, iterative and stimulatious. And you use multi-reasoning because to give interpretation you use multi-reasoning and you try to give the holistic meaning. Researcher adopts and uses one or more strategies of inquiry. Because in qualitative research, mostly like a CBI officer, you are inquiring the phenomena, you are inquiring the data, and as a result, you get the best qualities. These are what are the research methods in qualitative research? Let's see: interviews, focus groups, participant observation in the field, sometimes field notes, video, text, image analysis, documents, and media data. These are all the combination, different components of research methods in qualitative research. And data analysis: organize and prepare the data for analysis. Read all data, get a sense of the whole, because you read all data and you feel the sense of a whole. Begin detailed analysis with coding process. In qualitative research, coding process is easy because the data is not too much. Data is in your hands. You are able to see and you are able to feel and you are able to code. Generally, a description of the setting, people as well as categories or themes for analysis. Represent themes, writing and visual, interpret and make meaning out of data, interpretive non-linear process. So what does it happen in qualitative research? You get the best meaning. And research methodologies, useful methods: participant observation, interviews, focus groups, and data analysis. Choice of methodology depend on research questions, research goals, researcher beliefs and values, research skills, time, and funding. And we have much more to learn. Stay on, come back to the next class. We continue the class and you're going to learn quantitative research in my next class. Stay blessed. Come back soon again. Meet you in the next class. Blessings.